dear students, let us continue with the intersection layouts. In the previous interaction, we talked about the auxiliary lanes, and as well as we also talked about the speed change lanes, and in this particular category we talked about the acceleration lanes and the deceleration lanes. In today's interaction, we are going to talk about channelization. Now, within channelization there are different type of islands which can be provided so as to control the traffic in terms of controlling either their path or directions, and in that form we are going to talk about corner or directional islands, center or divisional islands, and the various practical issues which have been observed and what are the types of remedial measures which have been incorporated so that those intersections became safe and the traffic movement remains efficient. Apart from these, there are few other things also which we are going to take in the another interaction. So, let us start with the channelization. Now, what exactly is channelization? The channelization means we are trying to just segregate or channelize the flow, the traffic flow which is there, which is also being defined as a stream, and there are different movements which are going to be there at any of the intersections. So, if we are trying to do those things by use of different type of devices, by use of different type of physical features, then this is what we are going to talk about as a channelization. So, if you look at this photograph, then this photograph itself is trying to tell us that what type of channelizations can be there. Here you can see there is a central island, then there are other, say, the islands which have been provided at different locations, and then there are markings also which have been taken here. All of these together, they are going to define that in which particular area, in which particular direction, and how those vehicles are going to move. So, what are the objectives of channelization? The objectives of channelization are that we are going to talk about the controlling of the speeds of vehicles. We may also control the path of the vehicles, and therefore, whatever types of conflicts which may be there because of those paths can be omitted. We can provide the lanes which are separated out so that the conflicting traffic is not coming on the same lane. We can accommodate vehicles for their different maneuvers, or we can reduce excessive carriageways or areas to assist pedestrians to cross at a particular defined location, or we can place traffic control devices on these islands which have been used here for the provision of segregation of traffic or directing the traffic in a particular direction. Now, keeping these objectives in mind, let us try to see that what are the various forms of channelizations which can be there and how we are going to incorporate various types of things at an intersection so that the system remains effective. We have two photographs here, and one of the photograph which is on the left hand side, what you found is that there is a traffic which is moving on this circular road. At the same time, there is a road which is going inside in this form. So, there is a city here and this is a bypass. So, the connectivity of the city with the bypass has been provided, but what you can see is that there is a very big area which is provided here where the lot many interactions can be there if the drivers are starting moving in different directions in different manners. So, this is not going to be a safer condition because the vehicle has to go in this direction, there is a vehicle coming in this form, there is this vehicle can go in this direction also, whereas this vehicle can turn in this form. So, no segregation has been provided for different type of movements at this particular intersection. So, this intersection is not going to be that safe. Again, if you talk about this photograph number 2, what you can see is there is a central island being provided. There is a median here which is being provided along with the required markings, hazard markings are there which we have discussed under the signs and markings etc. But the issue is that whatever traffic is coming from here, they are getting ample opportunities to make this type of a movement rather than coming in this form. At the same time, there is a traffic which can go in this direction. So, this is going to be a hazardous location. This is a conflict point because of this undisciplined movement being taken by a vehicle. So, this island which has been provided here should have been enlarged, or there may be some other mechanism which has been done, so that now these type of movements are not being allowed. These are the different forms of channelizations. We have looked at these forms previously also when we talked about the add grade intersections. The point here is that we are going to have the highest conditions in terms of the segregation of traffic and their movements by way of the channelization, and that is where we usually move from an unchannelized situation to these type of channelized situations, and these can happen depending on whether we are talking about a 3-legged intersection or a 4-legged intersection or a multi-legged intersection. So, this is what we are interested to look at here. Again, in this case what you can see is that here the right turning has been provided, in this one the left turning has been taken care of, but from the rest of the conditions like here and here, those things have not been provided. Along with that, there are these type of islands which are just separating out the opposing traffic. So, we have medians, we have these corner islands, and we have the divisional islands, and all of these together are providing you a smooth movements. Here also the same things can be seen, that you have there is a big island being provided, along with that a smaller one has been provided here, and the traffic is moving all around it in terms of either these movements or these movements, and that is where the things have been made better. This is another case where a flared section has been provided, and at the one side the traffic can move either in the case where there is a broken up conditions, or some other reason is there due to which a traffic can go in that direction, or it can be an emergency condition. In the right hand side what you can see is that in the first case here a big area is there which is a conflict area, and this big conflict area has been reduced to a smaller one by way of the provision of these islands which are divisional islands, and they are also controlling the path. So, the path of the vehicles has been controlled and the conflict area has been reduced. In this case what you can see is that the traffic is coming in different directions. So, it is going this way, this is going this way. So, you have this area, but at the same time if there is a requirement of movement like this and this, then this is going to be a very typical condition. So, what is being done is that this island has been divided into two parts, and therefore, the possibilities which are otherwise there, they have been segregated out at two different levels in terms of the various types of the conflicts which may arise. These are also the some typical cases where the movements have been controlled by way of the provision of the divisional islands, or say the corner islands if they have been used in different forms here. The right turning traffic along with the divisional island has been used in this case also. So, these are the things which we are going to talk further when we take up one by one all of these type of islands. Here in this case, this previously also we have looked at, but at that time we looked at in terms of the conflicts. Here what we are talking about is that these two lanes which are being provided, if they have not been segregated out by way of say markings or any other manner which is being shown here very clearly, then what happens is that these type of conflicts which otherwise are possible at these locations have been segregated out, and when these have been segregated out by each other, then in that case the number of conflicts are going to be reduced. So, that is the advantage of doing the channelization here. So, let us talk about the various types of the channelization principles. They are related with the corner or directional island, or center or divisional islands, or the third category is the pedestrian refuse island, which we have discussed previously also when we talked about medians, and then the influence of the various types of traffic on all of these things, that is what we are going to look at. So, starting with the corner and the directional islands. Very first thing that these are usually triangular in shape. So, when you are talking about the movement in this form, so what you found is that they have been provided in this manner. So, the triangular shaped islands are going to be there. So, this allows the left turning, and the through traffic which is coming from the other direction is being taken care of here. Now, when we provide these type of islands, what should be the minimum size? That minimum size is being defined by way of in which particular area it can be provided. Say if it is an urban area, then it is 4.5 square meters, but if it is in rural area, then it is 7 square meters. Then the another thing is that what should be the minimum size of island at a particular direction. So, if you say that you are going to provide a island in this form, then are we going to look at these particular sides in terms of the lengths. So, here this minimum size is 3 meters, but desirably 4.5 meters on a side after the rounding off of the condition. So, because here when you are doing this rounding off, then you have a radius being provided at these locations. So, this corner radius is usually 0.3 to 0.6 meters. Another thing is that when you have provided this island in this form and the traffic is moving on this lane, then there is a lane marking, that is an edge marking which is going to be there. Similarly, there is going to be an edge marking here. So, this is edge marking. Now, this edge marking is going to have an offset. So, this offset is being talked here. It says that on the basis of the type of island which is being provided, say it is a small island or a medium island or a large island. So, these sizes or these offsets are going to be varying from 0.3 meters say to 1.5 meters. So, various values are there. So, it is 0.3, 0.6, 0.9, 1.5 meters likewise these values are going to be provided. And this offset is increased from 0.6 to 1.8 meters if there is a curved section, and this is going to be decided on the basis of the type of vehicle, because when you talk about the vehicle, the sizes are different, their turning radii is going to be different, and the design vehicle which we are considering in that particular case or at that particular intersection, then that is going to govern these type of decisions. Then another thing is the flare length, and this flare length is minimum 0.3 meters and approximately is 5 to 10 meters, 10 times of the offset. And curves, when they are being provided, they are raised curves, that means the curve stone is going to be used here and they are painted so as to define that this is an obstruction, and therefore, the vehicles should remain away from this particular obstruction. So, here whatever we have discussed has been shown, as we can see now. So, what we are talking about the corner radius, this corner radius in the case of a small this island being provided, it is 0.3 meters or 0.6 meters as you can see, whereas this offset being shown, this offset is 0.6 meters. When you talk about an intermediate one, so here again this is 0.3 to 0.6 meters. On this side the curve radius has been changed to 0.6 to 0.9 meters, whereas on the other side it is being changed to 0.6 to 1.5 meters, and then the offsets are again there. So, what you see that this offset is 0.6 to 0.9 meters, but here in this particular case what is happening is that the design is being done in this form. So, here this offset is going constant, but when you are looking at the offset here, then this offset and this offset is going to be different. So, we have this as a edge line and this one is a island. So, this is what is being shown. So, on this side it is 0.6 to 0.9 meters, whereas if we are talking about the other side, then this offset is 1.2 to 1.8 meters. And this flaring is being done because it gives you a constraint condition when you reaches towards the last position, but otherwise if the vehicle is coming from here and it gets out of control a bit, then it is going to hit the islands, and that is what we are trying to eliminate. Now, this is a case of a large island, and in this large island again you found that the radiuses have been defined. So, this radius is 0.3 to 0.45 meters here. Along with that, the offsets are again being defined, and these offsets, because this is getting a bigger size, they are going to as high as say 1.5 to 1.8 meters. Now, in these cases the island is here as you can see. Now, what is being shown here is that we have different type of design vehicle. So, in this case the design vehicle is a single unit truck, or if it is an urban area, residential area, then the design vehicle can be passenger vehicle. In either of the cases you have the turning radius, and on the basis of that turning radius you are going to get a one radius which is going to be traced on the layout of this intersection, and here it is 18.6 meters or 19.5 meters. Now, what happens here is that when you are trying to trace it out and when you are trying to make the extremities of the path, then the certain things which we have discussed was that we should go for either a simple circular curve or a transition curve or a simple circular curve with an offset, or we can go for a 3-centered compound curve. Now, in this case the 3-centered compound curve has been shown, which has the radius as 45, 15 and 45 meters, and if you remember we talked about the symmetrical designs, and that is what is a symmetrical design. What happens is that the lane which is 3.6 meters wide actually at this central level increases to 4.25 meters for these conditions. So, there is an increase in the paved area, and this is one point or a demerit which we again discussed when we talked about a 3 centered compound curve, that it increases the paved area by as high as or up to 20%. In the second case, we have a semi trailer which has 22.5 meter outer radius and here a single unit truck. So, these combinations have been talked about for the same conditions of a 3 centered compound curve of 45, 15 and 45 meters radius, and what we found is that the increase in the width is now 5.4 meters from 3.6 meters. In all of these cases, in the first case we have 0.6 meters of an offset here, but when you come towards the center, then this offsets in the second case increases to 1.5 meters, but in the first case it was 0.9 meters only. So, those things are also going to be different. Now, this is another case where you have again a semi trailer with 22.5 meters of an outer radius, but in the case of a compound curve, the radiuses have been changed and they have been made 54 meters, 19.5 meters and 54 meters. So, these are all type designs, means just examples. If you are going to do it in actual form, then you have to check it out and find out at what is going to suit at that particular location. But in this case again the width at the center is increasing to 6 meters and here the offset is coming as 1.8 meters. So, these are the things which are going to happen, and that is where you have to see that how much land is to be taken, how the lane markings have to be done, so that they remains quite more or less smooth movements. The another category is the center or the divisional island, and these center or the divisional islands actually are going to be quite important in terms, because they are segregating the opposing traffic as well as they are going to provide an opportunity for the right turning traffic too. So, their location and alignment becomes quite important in that sense. If the size is smaller, then it provides more spaces for the vehicles and they may deviate and take a wrong path and create a conflicting situation. So, that is why how they have been provided, at what location they have been provided, in what length they have been provided, at what size they have been provided becomes quite an important issue. So, what it says is that in the front of the island there should be a clear area, and this clear area should be 1.5 seconds travel time multiplied by an approach speed. So, if we are talking about this center or divisional island, so say this is a island which has been provided as such, then in front of this we are going to have the area, and this area is what we are talking about, a clear area in front of the island. Now, the two objectives are there. One is that at a distance away from the island it starts segregating out the traffic, as well as the nose of this island is getting protected, because the vehicle is not going to hit at this one, because they have started doing those maneuvers before. An area is marked and gives funnel effect due to the excess width at nose. So, width here is higher, but at the other side it is going to be lower. So, it is a funnel effect which is coming. Turning radii should follow the turning radius. We have the largest vehicle expected to use the intersection. So, that is another thing. So, means if you have to design it in a sense, means you have a curved section. So, these are also going to have a curved profile. So, when these are curved profile, then you have to see what is the turning radius of the vehicles which are going to be there on that, and accordingly this needs to be traced. The another thing is that the approach length of the island when it is reaching towards the intersection. So, what should be that length? Now, this length tentatively this should be equals to the distance which is being travelled in 3 seconds at approach speed. So, this is the total length which we are talking. So, if this is the length which is going to be there like this, so then this is what is being looked at, and here we have chevrons, and at this point maybe there is a intersection. Now, this length when you are talking, along with that there is going to be a width. This width should not be less than 1.2 meters and length should be 6 meters. As far as possible we should try to provide this. If there are exceptional conditions, then the width can be reduced to 0.6 meters, but then again we have to see that what is the amount of volume of the pedestrians who are going to cross at this location, one thing, and second thing is that there is a requirement of provision of traffic control devices, and if you are providing those traffic control devices, then at that location if it is being provided, then what is going to be this setback, and these placements we have discussed when we talked about the placement of the traffic signs. Now, when you are looking at these islands, then the island shape is going to be determined by various factors. Now, the factors are the wheel track, the radii of turns, the island nose radii, approach width, geometry of the island, and access space which needs to be covered in this particular island. So, let us see that what type of shapes can be here. Now, one thing which is very clear from these diagrams is that whatever is the type of the shape of the intersection is, the shape of the island is being adjusted to that. Say if it is a curved section, then we have a curved section here. If it is a flared section and then getting normal, so we are having this type of a system. Here you can see again the different type of curves in different directions are going on. So, this is one thing which needs to be taken care of. The another thing which we have discussed was that what is this open area which is going to be there in front of the island, which we have provided. So, this is in any of the directions. So, here when the traffic is coming from this direction, then this is what we are looking at. Similarly, this is another thing which we are talking. So, the chevrons, how the chevrons are provided, we have again discussed about it. So, there is no need of discussing it again here. Here this is another case where we are trying to trace the turning radii of the vehicles, and we have this right turning lane being provided by way of provision of this median. At the same time, there is a center or divisional island being provided here. Now, when the vehicle is changing or is moving from here, then the path has been just connected in this form. So, this smooth path when it is going needs to be taken care of. This is one thing. Second thing is that you can see that there is a easing out of this kinked section or the tangent section which is there because of the connectivity of the two roads, and this is being done by way of the provision of a radius, and here as it is being shown that it is being taken as 12 to 15 meters on either of the side. So, that helps for the smooth movement of the traffic like this. The another thing is that the nose of this island, as well as there is another island here and the nose of this island. Now, this nose of the island has been set back. Now, it has been set back from where? This is a tangent line, and this tangent line is being extended here and it touches the tangent line here. So, this is the line which is coming here. So, this is a setback we are getting. Similarly, if we talk here, so this tangent line is being extended and we get this one, and this is the setback we are talking, and this setback is 3 meters. So, we are taking the nose of the island 3 meters away from the point where the tangent is meeting at the two intersections of the nearest edges at that point. So, this again is going to help in the sense that when the vehicles are taking a turn in this form, that is where this turning radii is being taken, look at here, and when this vehicle takes a turn, then they are going in this direction. Now, when we are doing these type of things, when we are looking at these shapes, what you need to look at is that what type of a profile is being given for this island. So, this is one of the correct profile where the path of the vehicle is not hitting the nose, and it now follows at this particular point, and therefore, the vehicle is going to be clear of this island. If it is hitting at this one, this looks okay, but at the same time it is going to be deflected because the shape has been provided in this way. But in this case, this is going to hit and there is no deflection and it may come back, and therefore, this is not going to be correct. So, most of the time we should try to come up with this particular design. Here also what you can say is that there is a turning. So, the island has been provided. First of all, this island is protruding inside the intersection area. Second, when there is a U-turn, then this U-turn is consuming this much space, and if there is a vehicle which is coming in this direction goes straight, then they also has to deviate. And instead of that, if we try to provide this case, so the island has been taken clear of the tangent line which is there, and then there are markings which are coming here. So, the traffic which is going in this direction or traffic coming this direction, we have a smaller conflict area being created here. So, this is a better design. If you look at in this case, what is happening in this particular case, the median has been provided, which is also working as a segregation of the opposing traffic. A roundabout is being shown, but what you found is that there is a lot of space being given here, and therefore, a vehicle which is coming from this direction has an ample opportunity to take a wrong deviation and a path and go to the other side. So, no such control is being done. So, when this is the path which is coming could have been defined that the vehicle has to move in this direction by way of the design of this particular median. Similarly, when the profiles are there from this direction, what we can see is that you can very clearly find it out. There is a marking here of a dust that is defining how the paths of the vehicles are happening in this particular area. So, these also give you an idea that how we should try to design our islands. Now, this is another case where what you see is the traffic is taking a turn and there is another traffic which is coming as a through traffic, and they are going to have an interaction here which can be hazardous. So, what is being done is the corner island has been provided along with the markings, and that is where the two paths have been segregated out. So, this becomes a better design. Here again you have ample opportunities of different type of interactions have been reduced by way of the provision of the corner islands as well as the divisional islands, and therefore, now everything is getting quite defined that how the various types of movements are going to be there. This is another example where what you can see is that intersection is here, but somehow the gap has been provided at this location. So, what is being done is a relocation is being done of this particular gap on the median. It has been brought at this level, and then there is a right turning lane has been provided. There is a island which is being shown here. They are the divisional islands and the corner islands being defined. And now, what you can find is that with this type of a taper and a flare being provided, the most of the movements which otherwise are going to be there, they have been taken controlled. Otherwise, what would happen is that the vehicles can go in this form and the vehicles can come in this way. So, there is going to be lot of conflicting conditions at this, because there is traffic which is going straight also. Let us look at another example here. Here the things are fine that this particular intersection is having the gap in the median at this level, but again what happens is the total area, the conflicting area is quite large. So, what we have done is here that it has been brought to a level of at somewhere around 90 degrees. The median which was provided in terms of this particular form has been converted into a case where the right turning traffic can move. Various markings have been taken care of, and then there is a divisional island being provided, and this is segregating out the traffic in the left or in the right, and similarly the traffic which is coming from the left side and taking a right turn is also being taken care of. So, now this is a more systemized design. This is another case where there is a flyover. So, the elevated road is going at the top, and at the bottom of it the paths have been provided for the traffic which is coming from this direction or from this direction or from the highway, or they are going on the highway. So, all of these type of interactions are happening in this smaller area. Now, what is being done is, because there is a lot of scope available below this elevated corridor, so different paths have been provided. So, when the traffic is coming from here, if it has to take a U-turn is being provided here. The traffic can continuously go on a service road, this can deviate and go on a highway. The traffic which is coming from highway can come out of this system, and it can either take a U-turn and can go out towards the service road. This traffic can also come in this direction. The traffic which is coming from here can take a U-turn, can go on the highway or can go on the service road. So, every type of movement has now been taken care of by way of the redesigning of this area. This is another case, not much changes have been done. What you can find is that only certain things have been made a bit better, and this gap which was there has been shortened, because otherwise there is a possibility that a wrong maneuver can be there in this. So, this has been increased to such a level that now these two are coming at the same. So, you can see that this corner island as well as this divisional island, they are coming here, and therefore, this forces the vehicle to take this particular type of turn. So, that is a way it has been improved here. The similar is the condition in this one also. Here also what you can see is that the traffic is taking turn here. So, this is a bit sharp. So, it has been rounded. So, now the curvature is quite good. At the same time, on the other side also the corner island has been provided, and therefore, this movement can take place. This is another case here, where what you can see is that the traffic which is coming from this direction, if it has to go here, then it can take either this way or it can take this way. Now, this is going to be a big problem, and this problem has been sorted out here as being provided. So, you have a right turning, and then that gap has been from here, it is being shifted to this location, and this vehicle is going in this form and this one, and there is a small island being provided just to segregate these two type of directional movements. So, it becomes more safer now. This is also the similar case as we have seen for other directions. So, the what is happening is the main connectivity is at this location. There is a big island being provided, but then it is not creating or making that conducive environment that the movements becomes quite segregated, but at the same time this is a bigger area which is of concern. So, what is being done is that the two things have been brought very near to each other. So, now the gap has been provided at this location, and therefore, and this island is also being divided now. Bigger one has been made in a smaller one, and then now we have a smaller conflict area being provided here. So, these are the various types of cases which can arise, and you have to take care of these. With this, we close our interaction now, and we will be again meeting in the next interaction and look at further other elements. So, till then, thank you and goodbye.